Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to my channel, Traveling with Jose. I'm Jose, and for today's video, I'm going to be talking about things that shocked me when I joined the Navy. Ooh, this lighting just got really good. Keeps kind of like getting brighter and then dimming down. Just want to explain that the lighting is going to be a little bit weird. But I do have a video today, and it's about things that shocked me in the Navy. I wrote this idea down a long time ago, and I'm just now getting to it. I think it's things that will shock you, maybe things that you didn't know or didn't even think about beforehand before joining the Navy, but things to actually consider when you make this big decision. We're gonna get started with the first thing. What I wrote down was crazier in the fleet. So what I meant by that was that everything just gets so much more hectic. You're in total shock when you get to your first command. I want to say more so if you go onto a ship. If you go onto, of course, an aircraft carrier where it's a whole new life and you have to get used to a lot of different things. So, I mean, I remember my first day on the ship, I was like, this is hell. And it actually was, only because everybody had just gotten back from deployment. So everybody was, you know, kind of carefree, but they were also like, they had been stressed from going out to sea, which I understand now how it is. So like, they didn't really want to help me out. I was the new guy. I was just kind of thrown into the lion's den. That was my first experience. You know, it's different for everybody. I didn't really have a sponsor to help me out. I just kind of did everything I could to try and get help. I mean, I asked questions. I know a lot of people would be scared at the beginning. I was frightened, I'm not gonna lie. And this coming from A school and C school where life is so chill. So I also want to let you guys know that you guys have to enjoy A school and C school, live it up, have fun, because when you get to the fleet, it's total chaos. I mean, as time progresses, you learn what to do, what not to do, who to talk to, who not to talk to. Just remember, it is gonna get crazier after A school and C school, if you're lucky enough to go to both. Something else I want to talk about is time spent away from family. So I chose to go to Japan. I knew the consequences of it, and I actually stayed away from home for 3.5 years. Yeah, I didn't come back to visit my family. I didn't come back to visit my friends. One being that the flights from Japan to America are super expensive. Two being that like my dream was to actually live in Japan, and I was not gonna leave, you know, in between, because I would be in Japan 3.5 years, yes, but like 6 months in Japan, 6 months out to sea, 6 months in Japan, 6 months out to sea. So I did that for 3.5 years. You know, maybe you're someone that wants to be close to home. Me, for example, I live here in Virginia. If I wanted to actually work in Virginia, we have the biggest base like 2 hours away. And I did actually work there my last year in the Navy, so it was a easier transition for me out of the Navy because I could just come home on the weekends, move in my stuff back home. So that's what I did. I'm actually right now in my room. For the most part, you will be spending a lot of time away from your family. You might be stationed in places like California, Virginia, Florida, overseas in Japan, maybe somewhere else. It's gonna be a hassle to try to get to your family or them trying to get to you. Just take that into consideration. Time spent away from family is gonna be a burden in your life. It's gonna be something that's gonna shock you. Maybe you're not used to being away from home. And if you are used to being away from home, you know, even better, you'll get to live out your life somewhere else with the Navy. So another bullet point that I put down was a structure of leadership. Now with that point, I just want to make that it's called the chain of command, okay? And you know, when you first start, you're at the very bottom. Years and years later, you're at the very top, and sometimes not even then, just because there's so many people that, you know, even if you're like the highest enlisted person, you have, hold on, let me let this aircraft pass by. Oh shit, it's not actually, that's a helicopter. I am actually living near a lot of bases, so I do see jets and helicopters flying around frequently. Anyways, structure of leadership, so the chain of command. And like I was saying, if you are the highest enlisted person, it doesn't really matter because there's always officers that are above you. Pretty much the highest person in the chain of command, the highest person in the chain of command is the President of the United States. The crazy thing about the chain of command is that you live with your chain of command. So your supervisors, you're gonna live with them, and now that does kind of get awkward, I think. because these people are your supervisors, and then you kind of go home and then you have to kind of deal with them there too. Even though they don't want to be in work mode, they're still kind of in work mode. So you have to be on your A game a lot, pretty much, you know, trying to be on a lot of people's good side. At least that's what I remember doing or trying to do. Okay, so for this next point, I want to talk about the shock of meeting different people. And with different people, of course, comes different thoughts, ideas, different religions, races, languages, whatever it is. So you're gonna have to get used to that. And if, let's say you're living somewhere where maybe you're surrounded only by Caucasian people, somewhere you're only surrounded by African Americans or Latinos, whatever it is, in the Navy, y'all are gonna come together, okay? I learned a lot about where people come from in America. I'm from Virginia, you know, I've met people from California, Texas, Florida, which, you know, those are popular states where people join from. But I mean, there's other places like Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, things, you know, states that I don't know anything about. We all came together, kind of told our stories, but at the same time, you know, some people aren't used to that. And I'm gonna say it, you know, some people are racist and they join the military and they don't, I guess, think about that, or think about all these different kinds of people coming together, different backgrounds, like I said. So it's something that you, if you're not used to it, you're gonna have to get used to it. You're gonna be surrounded by different people 24/7, 365. At least for me, I was brought up in a very diverse area, Northern Virginia, where there was a lot of Latinos, Caucasians, African Americans, a lot of Middle East people. So I was used to that. I know I saw other people that weren't pretty much used to all that. I mean, they've told me, they were like, hey, Alvarez, like, before joining the military, like, I only I lived in a white neighborhood and went to a white school. The whole school was 500 people, whereas my graduating class in 2012 was 500 people. So things like that, you know, people come from small cities or they come from big cities, whatever it is, you all come together and you get the mission done, whatever it is. Another thing that is hard to deal with, and it shocked me, was the amount of personal space that you don't have anymore. You don't have any privacy, or rarely any privacy. So like, literally the only privacy you get is when you're in your rack or when you're in the shower and then the toilet. Like that's your only privacy. Like at work, you're always with people. Even down in the room where your bed is, you're surrounded by people. I definitely don't take my privacy for granted now. It's something that was shocking at the beginning. Like even during A school, C school, you'll always have roommates. I mean, same thing kind of in college, but I don't know, it's just to another level in the Navy because there's just so many people on a ship. Something else that I want to talk about also is the decreased comfort that you have when you join the military, when you join the Navy, at least in my case. So let's say I want to go shower, right? Here at home, I'm just gonna go shower, whatever. At the ship, you know, I have to have all my belongings with me, take them to the shower. I have to wear shower shoes. And then when I do shower, sometimes there's not hot water, or sometimes there's no cold water. Sometimes everything is really dirty and you're just like, oh my God, I'm not comfortable. When you're in your berthing or your room, it's too cold, it's too hot, it's too smelly. You're just not comfortable a lot of the times when you're in the military, and it's just something you're gonna have to get used to, and it's always gonna come up. I'm telling you right now, like, there are some days we didn't have electricity. Yeah, I know. And sometimes, oh, the food, you know, you're not comfortable with the food that you're eating or that they're serving up, like it's cold or it's actually expired, or, you know, things come up where you're just not comfortable when you're in the Navy. So just give that another thought and just be ready for it. Something else they have to deal with is very, very long work hours. So let's say you work a regular 9-to-5 job here in the civilian world. Well, in the Navy, you know, you're getting paid on a salary base, so they can use you as much as they want. They do try to keep it, at least for us when we were out to sea, it was 12 hours on, 12 hours off. But I mean, depending on the situation you're in, it's gonna be 13, 14, 15. You have to also remember that like after work is when you want to do everything else. Like maybe you want to work out, maybe you want to study. You know, you have to fit that all in a day, but at the same time, early in the morning, it's time to go back to work. Let's say you do have a good relationship with your family, you know, you share with them everything. When you join, it's gonna be a little bit tough staying in communication with your family. I know for me, I tried at the beginning, you know, sending messages through text, through email. On the ship, we do have pay phones, and it's expensive. It's really expensive to try to get a call out. You know, and if something is actually going on, they will turn off the payphone so that you can't contact anybody off of the ship. I think there was this one time we went, I think a little bit over a week without being able to communicate through messages, through phones, nothing. So, you know, your family, friends don't know where you're at. You know, they're worried. You're worried about them. Let's say they message you about something and you don't know what's going on in their life. You know, you're stressed about that. So communication is not the best when you join the military and you get stationed on a ship. So a lot of different factors that come in with being stationed on a ship, and that's why I'm going over them with you right now. So far, if you have any questions, don't forget to ask them. I'll definitely get back to you in a timely fashion because right now I got a lot of time. Also, if you want to contact me directly and really quickly, if you have like any questions, go ahead and DM me on my Instagram. It's Traveling with Jose, same thing. So just go on there, send me a DM, and I'll definitely get back to you. Let's talk a little bit about deployments, okay? I put here a little note about how you won't have any days off. So out to sea, you do work 7 days out of the week. And like I said, it's 12 on, 12 off, if you're fortunate to have that. For the most part, you don't go out to sea anymore for over 8 months, but you know, it always depends on different things. When I was stationed in Japan, I would go on 6 months deployments, and every couple of weeks, maybe every 3 to 4 weeks, we would see a different country, or we would actually pull back to Japan for a week, maybe 2, did our thing, and then went back out. So it just depends where you're getting stationed. I know when I was in Virginia and I would go on deployment, I got to go out for, it was like 6 months also, and I got to see France, Greece. Another thing that kind of shocked me while I was on the ship was that like there would be days that there would be a lot of restrooms that didn't work on the ship. It was so annoying. I knew where a lot of the restrooms were, right? And sometimes I would go all around the ship and no single restroom, or as we call it in the Navy, head, would work. No head would work, and we'd be, you know, pretty much out of luck. I just want to put that in there. I know I put in my notes, just using, sometimes trying to find a restroom on the ship is a chore and a half. Yeah, it would take me a while to find a restroom sometime. That's something that, I mean, you wouldn't think about, but it happens when you're on an aircraft carrier, or maybe other little ships, or maybe restrooms are really dirty and you don't want to use them. So always carry those like sanitary wipes so you can use a clean restroom. Sometimes even carry your own toilet paper, because the toilet paper doesn't get restocked, or people use it all up. So just another thing. I'm gonna get to my last point right now, and that's on all the space that you have on the ship, which is not a lot. I don't know if you guys saw my infamous life on board video, and you saw me unpacking and getting my rack ready and stuff like that. Yeah, so that's pretty much all the space you'll have. In that video, I mean, I didn't really explain it, but I mean, I was kind of moving out. So I had to bring all my stuff. I had things in a barracks somewhere. I had things in my apartment. I brought it all together. A lot of the things that I didn't need, I did ship home right after because I was leaving Japan. It's just, for that video, it just so happened that I had so much stuff. But you won't have that much space, so you know, the necessities, over time you'll know exactly what to pack. I know I did make a couple videos actually about what to pack on deployment, so I checked those out for a little bit of help. Alright guys, if you like this video, don't forget to leave a thumbs up, and if you have any more questions, leave them in the comment section below. I will definitely be making more videos, so stay tuned for those, but until then, take care. Bye.